and welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Diane Morgan. In the news this week, whilst receiving an honorary degree at Portsmouth University, Penny Mordaunt displays once again the measured performance that won her praise during the coronation. At a rally to celebrate Labour's crushing victory in the local elections, there's concern that the prospect of a return to power is going to Ed Miliband's head. And at a crowded party in Westminster, there's embarrassment as someone mistakenly reacts to a shout of, "Hey, sexy knickers!" On Ian's team tonight is a political correspondent whose show on Times Radio includes a segment where random guests take part in the quiz, Can You Get to Number 10? Which seemed like a fun idea until Liz Truss won. Please welcome Matt Chorley. On Paul's team tonight is a comedian who was born in California, moved to New York City and now lives in Peckham. Finally living the dream. Please welcome Desiree Birch. We begin with the bigger news stories of the week. Paul and Desiree, take a look at this.
Right, yes, now, don't tell me. Don't know who that is.
But he could not be happier to get the heck out of there.
Yeah, he's gone. And,
oh, Coachella!
Yeah. Is it the coronation? Is it the coronation?
We can only hope.
It's hardly Crufts, is it? Unless they've gone up market. So, yes, this is the, what's it called? The coronation, yes. Did you enjoy it?
What, all 7.5 hours? Every minute of it.
This is the news that 6 members of the anti-monarchist group Republic were arrested and held for 16 hours on the day of the coronation.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Why were the protesters surprised at being arrested?
Well, they had liaised with the police, hadn't they? They said, oh, we're not going to protest. We're just going to stand around saying, not my king. And the police arrested them on the morning of the coronation and then locked them up for 16 hours and said, oh, sorry, didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't been following the news.
No.
We managed to pass a law, I think it was the day before, called the Public Order Act, which meant that they could arrest them overnight and, for the purposes of the coronation, let them go the next morning with an apology.
And they were worried they might strap themselves to a lamppost, which obviously would have really upset the king. As he went past in his gold coach, he'd have thought. It was such a lovely day, but there's somebody over there tied to a lamppost.
Andrew, I think. Not my brother.
Which items did police officers confiscate from protesters?
Whistles?
Not whistles, no.
Rape alarms. The Metropolitan Police, given its recent history with women and violence, thought this was a good time to confiscate some rape alarms.
Yes.
No, well, there were also 2 megaphones which were taken from activists as they could scare the horses.
That was very unconvincing, wasn't it? Because the rest of the commentators were saying these horses are specially trained in combat situations to withstand loud noises.
One of them had a man playing a tuba on the back.
Yeah, one of them had one of those drums.
And banging a drum. Do not blow your whistle.
Yes. I mean, are they going to get pulled up for, like, gum or, you know, like shoelaces on their shoes, like anything that they could possibly lock on with?
Well, according to The Guardian, one protester said he was arrested for possession of string.
This Public Order Act didn't really become a law. It wasn't debated. It just went through. Is that right?
You're asking me questions I should know the answer to. I'm going to say that is right,
Yeah, good. If anyone wants to arrest Matt Chorley, I'll be locked onto him.
So to the coronation itself, all the armed forces were present. Let's see one last-minute inspection.
He was locking on.
What was the main hiccup to proceedings?
He was there early, and I believe, as though I don't know absolutely, the Prince and Princess of Wales were slightly late.
Oh.
So Charles was stuck in the gold coach.
just going round and round the block.
Round and round the block, killing time.
The one he went there in, that's the good one, which has got aircon and electric windows. And there was all this stuff about the one he went back to the palace in was really... the gold... I mean, it really was very basic, that gold.
So uncomfortable to be encased in gold.
Gold, being pulled by horses with a crown. He should have got on the tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles and Camilla arrived for their coronation 6 minutes early. Here's what a Sky News lip reader interpreted Charles as saying.
I love the idea of these lip readers.
Yeah.
Make up anything.
I mean, in all the different newspapers and television stations, all the lip reading is slightly different.
Yeah.
Slightly different.
I mean, in that one, I think I read somewhere he was saying, read the Daily Mail, it's brilliant.
Who else was on the guest list?
Interestingly, Nick Cave was invited.
Nick Cave
the
was
King
there.
of Goth.
He's the king of goth, is he?
I think so.
It's a small European island.
Liz Truss was there.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
Yes.
A number of celebrities and also a parade.
And Liz Truss.
Yeah.
She was just checking we remembered her.
Here's Hugh Edwards covering the event for the BBC.
Theresa May and her husband Philip, followed by Boris Johnson and his wife Carrie, and then Prime Minister for a very brief period, Liz Truss, with her husband Hugh O'Leary.
She spent longer choosing that hat than she did as Prime Minister.
Yes.
Well, I'm afraid we're not able to show you any footage from inside the Abbey, as the palace won't let us. And also, it was a bit boring. So let's have a look at some individual moments. What's happening here?
Oh. What isn't happening here? I mean...
That's the hot equerry. He's one of the royal equerries and he's very good looking. I read this in the Express, I think. We don't have a lot of hot equerries. They're usually mostly dead.
The man to the right of King Charles has got an unusual sort of hair pattern, isn't he? It looks like a sort of sparrow is nested in his paint.
Yes.
Look at it. What's
Charles
going
is
on there?
really enjoying himself, though. That's the main thing.
Yes.
This is Charles in his super tunica.
Oh, yeah.
They were a big band in the 80s.
It's a full-length coat made from gold silk worn underneath the imperial mantle. He's got a fireplace in there as well. Who stole the show?
Oh, Penny Mordaunt.
Yeah.
She was carrying the sword of state. I interviewed her about it beforehand, and she told me she'd been doing press-ups. And I thought, it was a lot of fuss, she's not going to be in it very much. She was in it more than the king.
Myself, I would have prepared for carrying a sword by carrying a sword.
She was slightly cheating. She has got a thing around her neck that the sword was in, so she wasn't really carrying it.
There's not like a ghost holding it from behind her neck. Like, she's still carrying it.
That's not a ghost, that's John Major behind it. She had this costume made specially, which is based on the Privy Council.
No, this is based on the uniform of the Greek airlines.
Yeah.
Or the Poundland logo.
From Poundland.
This has meant that she's going to be the next Prime Minister.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, someone cheered.
We can't rule out the possibility if Liz Truss had done it, she would have put the sword in her foot within a... and then beheaded the king.
It's progress. And then said she'd done nothing wrong.
Yes.
Ian, didn't you tell me before that at the royal wedding they make you wear an adult nappy?
What? This is... Excuse the expression, but this is worth unpicking. Ian went to the royal wedding and they made him wear a royal nappy.
Oh, I'm sure, weren't you invited to Kate and William's wedding?
No, how dare you? No, I was not invited.
Could have sworn it
I
was
was
you.
snubbed. So I wasn't there, I wasn't wearing a nappy. Apart from that, the story's great.
Someone told me that when you get invited to a royal wedding, you can't nip out for a fag or have a wee.
Can't do that.
So they suggest that you wear an adult nappy.
It could be part of the commentary, though, couldn't it? But as the Duke of Westminster has a quick wads behind... behind the Bayeux tapestry.
Prince Harry didn't stay long, returning to California for his son's 4th birthday party. But Harry's had some good news this week.
Oh.
Does anyone know what that is?
Oh, this would be the mirror hacking story. Would that be it?
That's
yeah.
right.
Piers Morgan, thankfully, knew nothing about it. Now, you mustn't laugh at that because that's some sort of libel, isn't it? If the audience laughs if I say...
No, you just carry on.
I just carry on. Would it be unusual for a tabloid editor to not know exactly where the stories were coming from?
You may say that.
I just have. Would it be unusual in any way at all, do you think?
Well, you might feel, I mean, you know, I've got no views on this, that you really should know where your stories are coming from.
So would you print a story in the Eye if it was a rather sensational story, but they didn't have any explanation as how they came about it?
No, I wouldn't unless it was about Piers. I'm saying it would be a very, very sad day for everyone if Piers had to go to jail.
He had an apology from Mirror Group newspapers for the unlawful gathering of information by a private investigator wanting to know what he was doing in a nightclub in 2004.
You need a private investigator to find that out. 4 shots, a couple of Jaeger bombs.
How easily that order trips from your lips.
The usual.
Finally, thanks to a renewed focus on the royals, who can now charge up to £1,000 an appearance?
Is it a look-alike?
That's right, it is a look-alike.
Oh.
Here's King Charles.
I thought you said it was a look-alike.
No, it is a look-alike, but they haven't decided who of.
He was also doing Len Gunman, but that work's dropped off.
Yeah. I thought it'd have picked up. It's a better Len Goodman, to be honest.
That's Charles Hazlitt, an official double for King Charles. And these two, Meghan and Harry.
That's pretty good.
They get paid.
Yeah.
I don't think they get paid a lot, though, do they?
No.
My favourite lookalike is this one. This is the coronation of King Charles III, a day of pomp and pageantry which we won't see the like of for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. As part of the coronation, King Charles had to put on the bracelet of sincerity. Though it did start to glow and give off smoke when he said how sad he was that Meghan couldn't be there. The coronation ceremony featured ornaments from many previous royal eras, including an auburn sceptre dating back to Charles II, a gold robe dating back to George V, and the coronation ring, which presumably dates back to Prince Albert.
Yes.
King Charles has been criticised for the opulence of the coronation during a cost of living crisis. Here he is. To be fair, cutbacks have been made. He is only wearing one glove. It's the weary expression of a man who's lost control of the cue ball and now needs the rest if he's going to pot that tricky blue. The royal family did their best to make the coronation a celebration of diversity. Yes, the family are pretty white, but many of the jewels that they wore were stolen from Africa and India. Here's Rishi Sunak with his wife arriving for the ceremony, an event she later described as small but nice. Ian and Matt, have a look at this.
Local elections.
Oh, thumbs up, I found him.
And that's a disappointing night.
Oh.
Well, it didn't go so well for the Conservatives.
It was a triumph for expectation management. The Conservatives came round and said, we're going to lose 1,000 seats. And they lost 1,063.
But they over-delivered, didn't they?
Yeah. It's the only thing they have delivered. The only thing they have delivered. It is good news for Keir Starmer. He's now on course for something. But he wouldn't discuss a coalition with the Lib Dems.
And then the Conservatives got very, very cross and said, this is disgraceful. How can you run a country in coalition with the Lib Dems? It's the Lib Dems' big moment. I don't know why everyone's not more excited.
Are you excited, Diane?
Oh, yeah,
Ed
look
Davey?
at me. I'm beside myself. Why wouldn't you want a coalition with the Lib Dems? They're so good at visual metaphors, aren't they?
They are. Do you have an example of their visual metaphors?
Yes, here's Lib Dem leader Ed Davey trying to convey that the Tories are running out of time.
5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Countdown's really let itself go.
One of the biggest victories that Labour had was in Medway in Kent. Do you want to see the victorious Labour councillor Vince Maple's muted celebrations?
Yes, please.
It's good that they're reviving Bat Out of Hell, though, isn't it?
What's Keir Starmer been warned to avoid? Doing a what?
Doing a Neil Kinnock.
Yes.
It's overconfidence.
Would you like to explain, Ian, for the younger viewers in their 50s?
Sheffield.
Sheffield.
1992.
Yes, he doesn't want to be Kinnock, does he? He doesn't want to repeat history and get overconfident and then lose and end up with another Tory government. So he's been constrained and responsible and mature.
I'm really bored.
I feel it's so weird that people get down on him for being boring. Like, after 4 years of the last guy we had in America, I want my politicians to be boring. You don't want your brain surgeon to be like, I'm a bit of a maverick, you know? You know what I mean? Like, let him be boring.
Well, I mean, you're doing well with your new president, aren't you?
Yeah, he's barely conscious.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Shall we play a quick guessing game?
Yes,
Please, what's the guessing game?
How do you think Ed Davey conveyed the idea that the Lib Dems were smashing through the so-called blue wall of the
He
Conservatives?
knocked down a blue wall.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me show you.
This is our version of Thor, the Norse god.
But going back a bit, how did Ed Davey express the idea that the Lib Dems' election performance was showing Boris Johnson the door?
He had a blue door. Oh, my God. He's not mucking about.
Yeah, can you see? There it is.
There it is.
Look at that font, isn't it shit?
Yeah.
Sadly, there's only time for one more.
Oh, go on.
This is former Lib Dem leader Tim Farron. How did he get over the idea that the Lib Dems had burst Boris Johnson's bubble of support?
Is it a giant bubble?
It is a giant balloon.
See?
It's a balloon in a big pin. There we are.
There you go.
You just don't want to do photos where someone can go one little prick.
The Lib Dems are quite a potent electoral force, though. How did a Lib Dem councillor in Salford manage to win 2 different seats on the same night?
Oh, yes, he was a paper candidate somewhere else. And now he's a councillor somewhere sort of 200 miles away.
That's right, yeah. Salford councillor Chris Twells also won a seat in the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
He was on the ballot paper as a paper candidate just to fill in the space. His boss in Salford said, he's got no hope of winning. But he did. He got 38%. And beat a Conservative who actually lived there.
That's not very good for your self-esteem, is it? Beaten by somebody whose name was put on just to make the form look a little bit fuller.
Back to humiliation for the Conservatives. What happened in Plymouth?
It's where they cut all the trees
Cut down
down.
all the trees.
Yes.
And they got thrown out. They were cut down themselves in turn.
Yeah. To make way for some development, the Conservative Council had over 100 trees cut down, which they did at night to avoid protests and negative publicity. Well, that worked. Local Conservative MP Johnny Mercer said, the Tories will take it on the chin. Well, the ones that have chins will. Do you want to see the official count trying to explain the electoral disaster?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've seen that reflected in the results tonight, but, you know, we take it on the chin and, you know, we keep going forward. I think there's really positive stuff happening at a national level and we need to redouble our efforts and make sure that we continue to work hard for people here in Plymouth.
They held that extra long just to see if he would cry. He was so close.
What's Rishi Sunak trying to do with the NHS to appeal to voters?
Pretend he uses it?
That's a good answer.
He's trying to reduce the scramble for doctors' appointments and give chemists more powers, what he calls common ailment services. Is that common as in plebby? What kind of ailments will chemists be allowed to deal with?
They'll be able to prescribe antibiotics, won't they?
Well, it's not what I've got here.
No. You have to take it to another chemist then. They'll
Right.
put it out.
Is it repeat prescriptions?
Earache, sinusitis, impetigo, laryngitis. It's a bit Mary Poppins, isn't it, that?
Yeah.
What else will chemists be allowed to do? Oh, well, I think you've just got
Bit of
this, really.
diagnosis.
Could it be anything to do with antibiotics?
Yes, it is.
It's a repeat prescription.
What has Rishi Sunak been stung by?
Has he been stung by criticism by Jacob Rees-Mogg?
It's criticism.
Is it the Archbishop? I was very keen on the Archbishop. Is it him?
You were very keen on the Archbishop? He was at Oxford with you, was he? Old Bish. Was he Old Bish with you?
No, Theological College.
Theological College. Did you ever link arms as you wandered across the quadrangle?
Yeah.
You did.
We've been locked on a couple
locked
times.
on.
Yeah.
Have you mortarboard at a coquettish angle? Waving at the bursar?
It's almost as if you were there.
I was the mascot.
The answer is criticism of his use of private helicopters.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He flew to Southampton and back that he could have done in 1 hour 15 on a train. How long did it take in a helicopter?
40 minutes.
35 minutes.
He went the shorter way.
Rishi Sunak has been criticised for taking too many helicopters. He was at it again on Saturday when his wife did a big shop and he was given 50p to ride the one outside by the trolleys. Following the disappointing local election results, Conservative MP Craig McKinley was adamant that there are still Tory voters out there saying the problem is not the Conservative switchers, but the Conservative stay-at-homers. That's according to one of the Conservative clutching at straws. The Sun attempted to smear the triumphant Labour Party at a victory party, describing Keir Starmer as looking worried he might drop a baby he was holding. Actually, Starmer's very good with babies. He can get them to sleep with one short policy announcement.
At least he's not standing there going, oh, God, is this mine?
Yes. And so to round two, the jigsaw of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
It's a guy in a sexy bin. What is this?
That's a sexy bit.
I mean, she's definitely got to like, hey, partner, what's up? Hop on.
This is the news that a man in Oxfordshire has built a wheelie bin you can drive. This is Kevin Nix, who has built the wheelie bin vehicle. It has a top speed of 8 miles per hour. Let's have a look at Kevin in his bin in action.
That's he's doing more than 8 miles an hour there.
Yeah.
And he's coming out of the pub.
Yeah.
Presumably he has to keep moving, because if he stays still, a lorry will come along and tip him up.
It's not good for your self-esteem, is it? The only reason for driving that is to throw yourself away.
I don't know. It looks like it might be a chick magnet. I've seen worse cars. I've gotten into worse cars.
What is the record speed for a wheelie bin?
Oh, 75.
It's 45 miles per hour,
Oh, they went the short way.
which was the record set by Andy Jennings in 2021. Here he is achieving that feat.
Doesn't look very stable. I'm referring to the wheelie bin rather than the driver.
Yes.
What does Kevin plan to do next?
Get a girlfriend?
He's built cameras into the two front-facing corners of the bin, so he'll be able to drive around with the lid closed.
That's not a good move.
Kevin says it's just a fun hobby, telling the press, "Have I got a piece of paper saying I'm an engineer? No. Have I got a piece of paper from the wife saying I'm leaving you? Yes." What other things has Kevin built?
A bread bin that does 10 miles an hour around the kitchen. Tell us.
The world's fastest shed? Kevin says, "I like doing things that are different." And so far, he's made an extended motorised mobility scooter, a motorised shed and a motorised wheelie bin. You say different, Kevin. I'd say the same. According to the Metro, Kevin takes his massive shed to residents up at care homes. Just what any care home resident wants to see, a large wooden box. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
A bit of a giveaway, this one. I think it's Putin.
Yes.
That's it. Points, please. This is a victory parade, and it was scaled down, and there was one tank from the Second World War. That's all he's got left.
One tank, and then the Kevin's motorised shed.
With a missile in the chimney.
Do you want to see that one tank?
Yes, please.
Is it simultaneously painting a yellow line down the middle?
He did have some other kit. What else was part of the procession?
Princess Anne.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
They're quiet, though, aren't they? You can see why they're doing well in the Ukraine. You can't hear them coming. Blimey,
Oh,
what's
there's a
that?
missile.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Is that something else that Kevin's built? The world's biggest pencil case.
What precautions did Putin take during the procession?
He wore a condom.
It wasn't him, it's a lookalike.
That's right, yes.
£1,000, and he does Prince Charles as well. But he's very paranoid now, because the head of his mercenary group, the Wagner group, is just going on television saying he's useless and the war's being lost.
It's quite bad when you lose the mercenaries. On your side.
Yes, it is bad, isn't it?
Which other potential world leader was in the news this week?
Oh, yes, Donald Trump, the court case in New York, which he lost. But, you know, but with the deposition that he gave, the little video deposition, you can see why his lawyers over the years have fought tooth and nail to stop him giving any kind of evidence.
Yes.
Because he's angry, he's dismissive, he says stuff like, I couldn't have raped this woman because she's not my type.
Yeah.
But the amusing thing, if there is any amusing bit in this, was that when he was shown a photograph of her, he mistook her for one of the wives that he'd married.
Yes, definitely not his type.
Not his type.
How was this played with his core supporters?
Very well. They love it.
They really don't care. Trump previously said that during his last presidential run, I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
Unless, of course, the man he was shooting was a voter for him. Then he'd be one down.
Finally, if you were President of the United States, how would you want to be introduced?
The very young Ian Hislop.
Yes.
Well, this is how a Hollywood star, Ke Huy Quan, decided to bring Joe Biden to the microphone when he visited the White House this week.
And I never thought I would get a chance to say this. But now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the President of the United States!
Was that just
Would
to wake
that
him
man
up?
be an actor by any chance?
Yes, yes.
This is the victory parade in Moscow. According to the Express, Putin used a body double for parts of the parade. So, incredibly, the parade featured more Vladimir Putins than tanks. Time now for the odd one out round.
Yes.
Paul and Desiree, your four are King Charles, Jeremy Hunt, Penny Mordaunt and Paul Daniels.
Right. Paul Daniels, very popular magician over here.
Okay. Well, I guess the magician would have maybe had a sword once in a magic act.
Yeah,
maybe?
absolutely. Sawing somebody in half or cutting their head off or something.
Yeah.
Charles must have had there must have been a sword during the
yeah.
ceremony.
And
Must
Jeremy
have
Hunt's a prick. Is that related? Or...
I didn't know you read the Telegraph.
At the risk of being the Penny Mordaunt correspondent, she was a magician's assistant.
Oh, you're right.
Penny Mordaunt's the odd one out because she's worked as a magician's assistant and the other three have done magic themselves as magicians.
There you go. Correct answer.
Whoa. Well done.
And when did Penny Mordaunt dabble in magic?
At university, Freshers' Week. In her year off.
In order to pay for her studies whilst at college, she worked as an assistant to the president of the Portsmouth Magical Society,
Oh, right.
whose most famously attempted trick was to make Portsmouth appear slightly more interesting. What did she learn to do as a magician's assistant?
She made things disappear. Huge majorities.
Mordaunt told the Bournemouth Echo that during her life she'd been sawn in half and chopped to bits in several hotel ballrooms. I missed that bit of the last Tory conference. Yeah. Where did Jeremy Hunt learn the skill?
When he was at uni.
What do they teach at British universities?
Don't ask me. Did he appear at the Edinburgh Fringe like 40 years ago or something?
Did he?
I know, I'm asking. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Not on here.
No, tell us, where did he
Yeah,
do
when-
it?
He was head of his school's magic society.
Oh, yeah.
It's here that he learned the art, which he said requires confidence in presentation, especially if you're about to pronounce his surname. Here's confident presenter Robert Peston making a reasonable attempt at it.
That means the hole in the public finances is bigger than it would have been, and Jeremy Hunt's cuts will be more painful.
It happens a lot, doesn't it? I don't know, why doesn't he change his name and then people are calling him Jeremy Hunt by mistake?
In 1975, the then Prince Charles was accepted into the magic circle after performing the cup and ball trick.
Yes.
God, I hate magicians.
Do you?
Yeah, I can't bear them.
Well, you think because they're trying to deceive you?
Not just boring. I know they've spent a long time doing these tricks, you know,
Yes.
but I just don't feel anything inside.
No.
Why could Charles be relaxed about his cup and balls performance?
He was allowed to use his own...
It was reported that before he even attempted his trick, the examiners had already signed the certificate to make him a member of the magic circle.
Fix.
Yeah,
Along with the certificate, they also gave Charles an emblem of the society suspended from a red ribbon. Then he asked, "Can I wear this on my naval uniform?" Yeah, of course, stick it with all the other made-up medals on there. Here's Prince Charles performing a magic trick in front of the signs of the zodiac.
He does look like he's doing a bingo call there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
All the sixes, 66. Two fat ladies, 27.
Yeah, house.
No, palace.
There's only one non-human member of the magic circle. Does anyone know who it is?
Paddington Bear.
Nope. Different
No.
sort of bear. It's Sooty.
Oh.
Oh, of course.
Who is this?
Who is this?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That happens to be our Prime Minister during the Second World War. We'd all be speaking German if it wasn't for him. he's kind of doing a Nazi salute as it is. I was a big fan of Sooty when I was younger, and I got to be on the Sooty programme sometime sort of like in the 1990s. And Matthew Corbett, who had taken over from his father as the operator, as literally Sooty's right-hand man, he wasn't so keen on the puppet. So the first thing Matthew Corbett said to me was, "I fucking hate Sooty." He said, the kids come up to me and say, "Where's Sooty?" I say, "You're in a fucking clinic now, fuck off."
Paul Daniels was obviously a magician. In one Halloween special, Paul Daniels recreated a Houdini trick, but deliberately staged it to give the illusion that the escape had gone wrong and Daniels had been killed. He later reappeared, at which point the delighted audience stopped clapping. The only human member of the Magic Circle is Sooty. Sadly...
The only human member?
Yeah.
You really don't like magicians, do you? You really don't like them.
I'll do that again.
Yeah.
No, it's better that way.
The only non-human member of the Magic Circle is Sooty. Sadly, he wasn't able to attend Charles's inauguration as the Met Police bundled him into a van when they saw his water pistol. That killed it, didn't it?
No. In the edit, that will look fine.
Yeah, because it won't be there.
Yeah, no.
Ian and Matt, your four are Scottish Police, Odysseus, Sainsbury's Mints and Bluey the cartoon dog.
It's a kids' TV show, The Blue Dog.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it's Australian.
And what's his thing?
He loves mints.
OK, so the link with Odysseus, who famously loved mints.
Loved mints. So Police Scotland's the odd one out because they don't like mints.
Do you know I've gone off you as a partner?
Do you give up?
Yeah.
They've all been told to change their appearance, apart from the cartoon Bluey, which had to be re-edited because it criticised a person's appearance.
Wasn't it about a character that was described as being fat or something?
A recent episode of the children's cartoon had to be re-edited after being accused of fat-shaming. In the episode, Bluey's father looks in the mirror and complains about his weight, to which 6-year-old Bluey replies, "Why don't you just do some exercise?" Adding, "You fat bastard."
Yes.
What aspect of their appearance have police in Scotland been told to change?
Oh, beard.
How have officers reacted to the news?
I'll not do it. Those are the ones from Johannesburg, of course.
The answer is badly.
Oh.
At least 4 officers are pursuing discrimination claims in tribunals against Police Scotland. Why was Odysseus, the hero in Homer's epic poem The Odyssey, told to change his appearance?
Yeah.
This feels like your area of expertise.
Everyone
here.
looks at you.
I took care of the mints.
OK.
You watch The Simpsons. What did Homer do?
Yeah. He's going back to Ithaca after the Trojan War. It's taken him 10 years to get back. His wife has been waiting for him, Penelope, stitching and unstitching every night this tapestry, and she's surrounded by suitors, and he needs to get to the island, meet his son, Telemachus, and conspire to murder all the suitors and reclaim his wife and live happily ever after.
That's not what I've got.
Nope.
Where's your degree in made-up history now?
The goddess Athena tells Odysseus to return home to Ithaca in order to gain information from passers-by without being recognised. She disguises him as an old beggar. In order to disguise him, Athena shrivels his skin and dims the fire in his eyes. He could have just got married.
And the mince thing was that people didn't like its appearance, did they? They said it looked really pretty horrible.
Yeah, this is Sainsbury's mince beef. The supermarket has brought out a new eco-friendly design which uses less plastic. But customers are not impressed. One described the new packaging as very medical, like I've just bought someone's kidney.
Oh, you'd be lucky to get a kidney, my friend.
What do you think? Do you think it looks a bit disgusting?
British or Irish, it says.
That does not inspire confidence at all.
We don't really know.
Yeah.
Threw a bunch of cows into a wood shop. We have no idea.
We're not even sure it's beef, to be honest.
One Sainsbury's shopper from Huddersfield complained about the vacuum-packed mints, saying, "They've sucked all the air out." That's this year's Nobel Prize for Physics done and dusted. One woman complained that when she opened the new Sainsbury's mince package, the meat plopped out in a big rectangular clump, in much the same way as it does the next morning. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features as its guest publication Knotting Matters, the magazine of the International Guild of Knot Tiers. A truly fascinating magazine about a truly fascinating subject. Knot. And we start with pickled penises once again. What?
Pickled penises once again beat the Tories in the local election.
Pickled penises once again on the menu at McDonald's. McDick. Presented in a pair of trousers. Do you want flies with that? Never went to university. All self-taught.
Pickled penises once again on display at reopened museum.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
This is the news that the Hunterian Museum at the Royal College of Surgeons headquarters reopens next week. One visitor held the pickled penis in her hand and said, "It's gruesome." Well, that's what penises do when you touch them.
Yes.
Next, woman who ate like King Charles for a day says what?
I shouldn't have picked Charles I on the day of his execution. As I only had a small breakfast.
The answer is, a woman who ate like King Charles for a day says, "I never want to see a boiled egg again."
Oh.
This is the Mirror writer Nia Dalton, who followed King Charles's diet for one day, which includes a boiled egg with every meal. And it's not just Charles. Rumour has it Diana used to enjoy a couple of soldiers every morning.
Too soon?
Next, the string vest was invented by what?
King Charles.
George String and Mickey Vest.
By someone who didn't know how to do knots.
Knots, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The answer is the string vest was invented by a Norwegian army officer who joined two sections of fishing net together. For 5 minutes, he was the most stylish man in Norway until he died of hypothermia. Next, the most satisfying achievement of the Notting Matters team is what?
Is to have Notting Matters magazine appear as the guest publication on Have I Got News For You, and everybody can appreciate what a magnificent hobby it is. Very interesting and very good.
The answer is that they publish nearly every article submission they receive.
I bet they do.
I don't know why you're laughing. Sounds a pretty good policy.
And finally, a town in Yorkshire celebrated the coronation by having a cow what?
Pay for its own barbecue. It's not cost us a penny, this.
Cow jump in Rishi Sunak's swimming pool.
Let me put you out of your misery.
Yeah.
A town in Yorkshire celebrated the coronation by having a cow pat challenge.
Who can pat the most cows in an hour?
What are the metrics upon which the cow pat is judged?
It's about chucking it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You need to leave some time before...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, that's...
To solidify.
Yeah.
No, that's half the sport, stand behind the cow with a tennis racket. Whoa!
So the final scores are Ian and Matt have 3, and Paul and Desiree have 6.
Oh, well done.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition.
Today's Wordle.
Dear Jim Fix-It, you're my last hope.
On which note we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Matt Chorley, Paul Merton and Desiree Birch. And I leave you with news that at an event in Windsor Park, Prince William educates his son on the best way to deal with the paparazzi. In Kyiv, President Zelensky starts to suspect the UK's commitment to Ukraine is beginning to wane as one of the promised fighter jets comes into land. And an aide at Buckingham Palace breathes a sigh of relief as the hastily arranged royal body double ends up not being needed. Good night.